those introductions. I don't think I need introductions, although there's a couple of park boys and a greenskeeper that didn't get acknowledged. Other than that, I think everybody else is covered. Now we're good, right? Everybody's covered. Hard time, little city county stuff we have here. Bobby and Lois and Julie, thank you again very much for putting this together. I really, really appreciate it on behalf of the city of Madera. I want to thank you for your diligence and hard work, and also Comcast. Thank you so very, very much for, again, sponsoring this event. We really, really appreciate it. And there's somebody missing from the room. I just want to acknowledge very briefly, before I go on, somebody that has sat in this room at the State of the County for a number of years, who's not here today, but I wanted to acknowledge Mr. David Tooley, somebody who's been very instrumental in the success, and a lot of the successes we've had at the City of Madera, who served just shy of 25 years for the city. And so I'd like to acknowledge him for all of his hard work and diligence, and appreciate the time that I personally have worked with him and what he's done for the city of Madera. So if you don't mind a round of applause. Thank you very much for that. And I was told, I could be wrong, is there a theme to this event? Somebody told me that the theme is unity. And I thought, I put my speech together, and do I have to redo my whole speech about unity? I wasn't sure, but actually as I read my speech, it kind of plays into unity. So you guys let me know afterwards if yours, Tom, yours was unity, man. It was dead on, so I want to make sure I can follow that. But that being said, as I look at my last year and a half as being mayor, but this is my 6th year on the city council, that's actually what got things done and how we get things done. Tom had mentioned before working with the city and county, working with the city of Chowchilla. And as I look at a lot of the successes and things that we've accomplished, it's because of that cooperation and that collaboration and coming together as a county to get a lot of things done. And with that, I just kind of want to mention Madera Unified School District. Unfortunately, Todd Lyle, our new superintendent, couldn't be here. But they have some great accomplishments with their graduation rates being increased. But we put together a tri-agency commission with the Madera Unified. Things like the Facilities Commission, and where the city and the Madera Unified work together on identifying the needs of the schools in the district. And at first, when I joined with Councilman Will Oliver, we were kind of walking around from school to school thinking on how we can help. But honestly, I kind of thought it was a Madera Unified thing. But as we grow, and as the city of Madera grows and it grows with schools, we have to be at the same table sitting down with that growth on where the next school is going to be built and how that next school is going to be built. And so we've done that with Virginia Lee Rose. As everybody knows, over on the east side of town, it's a gorgeous school. And we sat down and we collaborated and cooperated with Madera Unified. Right across the street will be the county campus. And so we've sat down with the county and a number of issues like the county campus on how we can grow together and be at that table talking about where Madera is going to be in 10 years or in 20 years. And that's something that I take a lot of pride in, and working with a lot of my colleagues here. And the decisions that are being made are not about tomorrow or next week or about the next election. They talk about what Madera is going to look like in 5 years or in 10 years. And so I'm proud to work with all of my colleagues on having that same attitude. And Mr. Green, you're absolutely right. With what our EDC does and the understaffed people we have taking on this great role, we need to continue to support Economic Development Commission and continue to make sure that they have the funding and resources, because this benefits the entire county of Madera. And speaking of Madera County, we serve on commissions together like LAFCO and like Madera County Transportation Commission. And again, there's subcommittees that we sit down together and say, what can we do to make the county better? And so Tom touched on it. When he said a drink, it meant tea. Okay. If there's any media here, it's water or tea. But we do a lot of BSing. We did every 10 years we have a tech sharing agreement with the county, that the city and the county sits down and works on this tech sharing agreement. And so we sat down with Supervisor Frazier and Supervisor Wheeler and Councilman Oliver and myself, and it took 2 years to come to an agreement. And I think after 2 years we both felt we were screwed. And so we thought it was a good deal, and so we're going to go ahead and sign it and move on with that deal. As long as we both felt like it wasn't a good deal.
2-hour dinner.
Yeah, with water and tea. I remember that very well. And again, the intergovernmental meeting that Tom had touched on, and I too want to thank past Mayor Gary Zavanda for putting this together when he came to a council meeting and said we need to be sitting at the table on a number of issues. And so I won't go into detail, but some of those issues were things like economic development, the 99 trade corridor, which goes all the way through Madera into Chowchilla, and these number of issues like homelessness was another issue, on how we can work together and share resources on homelessness. And we're just in the early stages of doing these things, but as we come together as with the two cities in the county, we've accomplished so much in such a little time. So I'm going to be very happy to report those successes next year when I'm standing up here, hopefully. But as I mentioned homelessness, I do want to tell you the story a little bit, because it's very dear to my heart, and I'm very happy to be part of a team of some things that have happened recently in the city of Madera. My mom, as a lot of you know, served on the city council in the late 70s and the early 80s, and we share a lot of stories, and she had a vision or a goal way back when for homelessness by putting some homeless people or families in our Cremona Ranch area, which is our farm labor families. But they're here for the summer and they leave in the winter. And so when I came on council, I had kind of mentioned it to a couple people, but honestly, I really didn't take the ball and run with it. But we hired a new director of our housing authority. And I mentioned it to her as we started to share where Madera is going. And again, I really didn't pursue it all that much, but at the time, what she had done was mentioned it to our then chairman, Councilman Charles Rigby, and vice chair, Councilman Will Oliver. These guys took the ball and ran with it, and that's an understatement, because where I maybe have shared an idea, where I maybe shared something like, hey, maybe this may or may not work, these guys with a number of people like our Workforce Investment Board and CAP-MC and Madera County really got their fingers dirty. And what they did is they went out and found 7 families that would fit the criteria to actually be out from under the bridges, out from the orchards, out from somebody's couch, and into a heated place where basically it was vacant. One of the families was living in an orchard. And so rather than just put a roof over their head, again, I really have to give a hand to a number of people that have helped out. But Councilman Rigby and Councilman Oliver said, that's not what we're going to be about, is just put a roof over their head. We're going to help them get jobs and help them get back on their feet. If I remember correctly, there was a single father with 5 children that was homeless. And now he's got a job. The kids are doing much, much better in school. And all these families now that when I was happy to give the kids bikes at Christmas time, the council members said, I won't be happy until they're actually out. That's our goal, is not to get them in, but to get them out. And so I am proud to work with colleagues like this that have done such great things in the city of Madera. I'd love a round of applause and acknowledge them. Measure K, which is our half-cent public safety sales tax measure, which was approved in November of 16. We just started to collect money in 17. So we've been collecting money for about a year. And again, I'm so very, very proud of our police department and our council, which, although it was a general election, has vowed to spend every nickel on public safety. And that's exactly what we've done. In the last year, we've hired about 15 personnel, additional personnel in our police department, 11 of which are new officers. New officers on the street to combat crime. And I think maybe 4 or 5 of those are actually local people that live here in Madera, have their families here in Madera. We were able to buy body cameras. So now in the city of Madera, every officer that's out on the street will be wearing a body camera. We have new vehicles on the way. We have just down the road a new fire station ready to be built with a ladder truck, which is also going to be on the way. This stuff is not cheap, but it's needed in the city of Madera. And I can't wait till we cut the ribbon on that fire station, and you will see a change in the way we do public safety in the city of Madera. Where years ago I heard people saying there's never a cop when you need one, now we're in a position where somebody says, if something happened to me in my neighborhood, I want to start Neighborhood Watch. Neighborhood Watch has been huge in the city of Madera. We have 90 neighborhoods just in the city limits participating in Neighborhood Watch, where we basically take City Hall to the streets. And we have that interconnection between those neighborhoods and those families and those folks and our City Hall, our elected officials, our police department, and has proven to be valuable. I do want to share a couple of stats in speaking with our interim chief of police, Chief Dino Lawson. I asked him for this speech, I know we're doing our annual report, but kind of where are we on calls of service? And I was a little taken back, if you will, from 2016 to 2017, we had about 8,000 more calls for service. 8,000 more calls for service. But yet, in a number of categories, crime is down. Crime is down, larceny is down 15%, violent crime in the city of Madera is down 25%, and aggravated assault is down 38% in 1 year. When you have 8,000 more calls for service and crime is down, you know what that is? That's trust. That's trust in our city. When we go to Neighborhood Watch and we say there's no call too small, please call the police department if you feel that there's an issue. And we have. 8,000 more people calling to say, well, I was afraid to call, I'm no longer afraid to call. I now have trust. When we passed Measure K, it was the third highest passage in the entire state of California, over 80% passage. That means that the citizens in the city of Madera have such a trust with our police force and our fire department that that's the kind of investment they want to make. And when they continue to call, because they are on a first-name basis with our officers, they are on a first-name basis with the mayor and city council, and on a first-name basis with our chief, and pretty much everybody else. That is a lot of trust, and I'm very proud to say that it is working. And again, with the team that we have, and this was led by our now interim city manager, but chief of police for the last 5 years, Mr. Steve Frazier. Steve is around. Right there. A big round of applause for our... The value of going neighborhood to neighborhood, Steve, is paying off now. And I know that you're our interim city manager with retirement on the horizon, but a lot of these numbers are attributed to you and your team of folks. We did a Citizens Academy, which basically is like a 13-week class that anybody can take to kind of show the ins and outs of what we do at City Hall. And everybody walks away saying, I had no idea. I had no idea that's what your parks director had to do. I had no idea those are your finances, and so on and so forth. And so we graduated onto a Police Citizens Academy, where again the general public can sign up and they could speak to our detectives. They can see how our 911 dispatchers work. You can drive a car and shoot a gun and kind of be a cop for a day or two. And it's really exciting because they too walk away at graduation saying, I had no idea that that's what your police officers did. And even that is just a small glimpse. So again, with the leadership we have, they took that a step further and said, we need to do a Police Citizens Academy for Spanish speakers only. And we're in the middle of that now. I'm getting ready to graduate these folks very soon. But it goes back to that trust and that we are here and open for business to anybody that wants to get involved. And then we took it a step further. We're going to graduate very soon a Citizens Academy for students at Madera High and Madera South. Give them a glimpse on what we do here at City Hall and bring them in to our world and share. And I got to tell you, these young folks are very bright and very smart, and they share a lot of great ideas. Speaking of the budget, I do want to share with you that I have actually heard somebody in the public say that when Andy became mayor, the city was $1 million in the hole, and now they are $9 million in the hole. And I chuckled, but then I called my finance director to double check to say, what did I do? Could this be true? But it's not. It's not true. We did have a $911,000 deficit in 16-17. And I can tell you that we did some cost-saving measures. Basically, we cut and we slashed. But as I mentioned before with Mr. Tooley, the last thing that this council was going to do, not only with his direction, but we knew it firsthand, was the last thing we would ever want to do, no matter where we cut or slashed, was that we were going to deprive the citizens of Madera of service delivery. If you were going to call 911, you were going to have somebody there. Your garbage was picked up, you had water, you had all the services, and none of those services were ever cut. And I'm proud to say, through those cost-saving measures, tax revenue is up. We not only cleared that $911,000 deficit, we're going to have a balanced budget this year, and in our reserves, we're close to $13 million in our general fund reserves. And I'm very, very proud of that because that was in a very, very short period of time that we had done that. Moving forward in some projects, thank you. That's always good news. Moving forward with projects in Madera, the Loves Travel Center, which is going to be down the road from here. We want to put dirt in the air very, very soon. And as Tom had mentioned, our friends at the casino, we are certainly rooting for you across the street that we will get some dirt in the air on that casino as well. That is definitely going to be a game changer here in the city of Madera. And this is something that I've heard as well, and I've heard it far too many times, ladies and gentlemen, whether it's in the press or to my face. I am tired of hearing people say that Madera is poor. I am tired of people saying that we're a poor community. I've even heard people say that we're a third world city, and honestly, I take offense. I take offense to that because Madera is not poor. Where we may not be up to some standards in median income, Madera is rich. Madera is rich in faith, Madera is rich in pride, and Madera is rich in unity. Volunteerism and the people that are in Madera, not just in the city of Madera, but in the county of Madera, I think we're second to none. I want to thank the birthday boy, our communication specialist, Joseph Carello. He turned 21 yesterday. He runs this for you guys, for everybody here. Thank you, Joseph. I won't go name by name because if I stop right about now, I'm going to be a hero. But I do want my city staff to stand. Everybody who works for the city of Madera, please stand. They're right over here to my left. Yeah. These are devoted people to the city of Madera. And each and every one of them, at one time or another, I've either texted on a weekend or emailed at night or whatever. And it's not just me and it's not just the council, it's for the entire city. That they are just a phone call or an open door away. And I truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank all of you for your devotion and your diligence and your hard work with the city of Madera. Not all the council members are here, but I do want to acknowledge Councilwoman Gallegos represents District 1, Mayor Pro Tem Councilman Rodriguez represents District 2. We have with us here from District 3, Councilman Will Oliver, right here. Will? Representing District 4, Councilman Derek Robinson. Representing District 5, Councilman Charles Rigby. Everybody's favorite Councilman Donald Hawley representing District 6, who I don't think made it here today. Last but not least, I brought my bodyguard with me today, and she's really my biggest fan and biggest supporter, and really one of the biggest reasons why I do what I do. And she is still known as the first female Hispanic mayor in the entire state of California. I'd like to acknowledge my mother, Marge Medellin. With that, once again, thanks for spending spring break with us. I really appreciate it. For those of you who are here and can't wait to get out, I'm going to be very short. But again, thank you for your attention and thank you for all of your service to the city of Madera. Thank you.